We have some tasty Lakers rumors coming your way on the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr., and the rumors are hot after yet another loss for the Los Angeles Lakers, this time at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks. The loss against the New Orleans Pelicans was ugly. Then the Lakers were getting blown out by the Mavericks, made a little bit of a comeback bid, but too little, too late for Los Angeles, even though LeBron James went on another run during that game, which made you believe, okay, maybe the Lakers are going to be able to chalk up a dub. The player who's played a lot like LeBron throughout his early portion of his career, where the statistics really match up, is Luka Doncic. You saw it firsthand last night. 25 points, 8 boards, and 5 dimes. LeBron was really good. 26 points, 12 and 5. But other than LeBron, he continues to just not get that much help. Yes, Carmelo Anthony chipped in with 20 points. Malik Monk also contributed with 17 points on 3 of 6 shooting. But the Lakers were picked apart defensively during parts of that game, and offensively, they're really just clunky. And with the Lakers continuing to have L's in the L column, could the dominoes start to fall soon for the Los Angeles Lakers? We've already talked about Frank Vogel being on the hot seat. Later on today's show, we'll talk about Russell Westbrook and the fact that he wants out from a Lakers uniform, just like the Lakers want to move on from him, and a whole lot more. But first, I want to ask you this question, Laker Nation. Get into the comment section and let me know how you're feeling. Is it time to go for Frank Vogel? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I personally think he's going to be the scapegoat for the Lakers roster problems, but if I'm wrong, you let me know in the comment section and call my ass out. Now, there are a lot of rumors coming from Jake Fischer of Bleacher Report, and we're going to go through all of his reporting, then I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on what he had to say. In January, Vogel's job was reportedly in jeopardy, and he continues to endure rampant speculation. Few coaching figures hold optimism Vogel will still be manning the Lakers sideline come 2022-2023. I mean, I said this at the time when there were those reports about Frank Vogel being on the hot seat. You don't really go from being on the hot seat and firmly entrenched on it when the temperature beneath you is really hot to going off of the hot seat, especially when the Lakers are still in 9th place, a few games under 500, and the struggles continue. Now, I think a lot of the problems are due to the roster construction and injuries to players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis this year, but Vogel, no doubt, has struggled to make adjustments along the way, and he really has clashed with Russell Westbrook all throughout the year. From the coach to the guy who is really manning basketball operations as the general manager for LA. That is Rob Pelinka, the former agent for Kobe Bryant. Here's what Jake Fischer had to say about Rob Pelinka's future now. A little bit wordy, but we'll run you through it. Pelinka's circumstances are far cloudier than Vogel's, a franchise so rooted in its history with a management focused on upholding a familial feel, deeply values its connection with the man who long represented Kobe Bryant. Former players, not just Magic Johnson, and other Lakers power brokers such as Kurt and Linda Rambis have always held prominent voices in Los Angeles' decision-making. Pelinka is said to still have strong support from those Lakers figures. I do find it weird, though, that Kurt Rambis sometimes is sitting in on meetings alongside Frank Vogel, David Fizdale, and this coaching staff. The Lakers for so long, maybe more so than any other NBA team in the league, has been the most well-run organization, but there's a lot of dysfunction going on right now. As for people who might replace Rob Pelinka if the Lakers do decide to move on, and Jeannie Buss ain't happy. During that Pelicans loss, she was seen just bolted out of Crypto.com arena. Omar Wilkes, rumored as Pelinka's replacement at GM. He is currently the Clutch Sports head of basketball ops and does have some familiarity with the Los Angeles Lakers because of Rich Paul, LeBron James, as well as Anthony Davis. Now, I want to ask you this question, Laker Nation. Are you subscribed to the Lakers Report by Chat Sports? Who else is doing what we're doing, where we're pushing out videos almost every single day on the latest Lakers news and rumors? Nobody's doing what we're doing, folks. And if you're not subscribed, you ain't alive. Do not miss out on informative, entertaining, educational, and consistent Lakers coverage. Just hit that red subscribe button down below and join the Laker Nation family. It's my goal by the end of the week to get to 42,000 subscribers. More from Jake Fischer on Rob Pelinka. Pelinka's about face from negotiations with Sacramento before the 2021 NBA draft, which would have landed Buddy Hield to instead acquire Russell Westbrook at a far richer price, has all been well documented. Pelinka clearly acquiesced to James and Davis's desire for Westbrook, yet the Lakers stunned the Kings with their sudden change of tune. Sacramento staffers were largely made aware of the Wizards trade when the deal framework was reported publicly, sources said, rather than being informed by the Lakers brass. Several rival front offices have indicated Pelinka has lacked when it comes to working with opposing teams. Quote, he wasn't returning some teams' calls at this year's NBA trade deadline, one general manager told Bleacher Report. Now, if you're the Lakers, if you're the Buss family, if you're running this organization, you have problems, reportedly, with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. You have issues with the power that LeBron James has over the roster and the fact that he wanted Russell Westbrook over Rob Pelinka wanting Buddy Hield. Aren't you worried that if you bring in another member of the Clutch family, this time to be your general manager, that there is too much Clutch Sports allegiances and influence and fingertips across this organization? That would be my concern with this. I think you look at a guy like Sam Presti. Do you give Masai Ujiri the bag if that's even possible? One of the most sought-after general managers out there, go after them. Somebody who's proven, not somebody from Clutch Sports. Point the finger at who? Where are you pointing the finger? Do you blame the players, the coaching staff, or the front office for the predicament that the Lakers are in right now? Type P for players, C for coaching, F for front office. Once again, chime in and point the finger in the comment section down below. Today's show presented to you by our friends at Fanatics. Today only, you can get this Lakers shirt to my right for 30% off. Only if you use that link down below, chatsports.com/Lake shirt. You can find it right now for 30% off. Phenomenal deal if you plug in that link at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. Now to the latest on Russell Westbrook. He wants out, and the Lakers want to move on. Whoever's to blame, there's clearly a personality disconnect between Westbrook and this coaching staff. Any suggestion for Westbrook to come off the Lakers bench would never have been entertained by the guard, sources said, obviously. And Vogel's staff never seriously broached the subject with him. The former MVP gave an impassioned speech to the Lakers players prior to the All-Star break, sources said, harping on Los Angeles' need to take a unified direction to their fight for a postseason berth. In any case, there is mutual interest in finding Westbrook a new home this summer, sources said. Now, going into the offseason, Russell Westbrook has 1 year remaining on his contract, worth more than $40 million, so both the Lakers want to move on from Russ, and Russ wants to move on from the Lakers. And after that loss to the Dallas Mavericks, Russ said, you know what, flat out, I have to play better. And Russell Westbrook has never had the best look in the mirror of himself. He's never been really in tune with what he's actually doing on the basketball floor as compared to what others are saying and evaluating. Now, here are his stats here in 2022. 16 points per game in 20-plus games, less than 7 boards, 39% from the field, and 23.5% from long range. Not good for Russ. I'm just happy that he has more self-awareness now than he has in years prior and even weeks prior. He admitted, I have to play better, and he does in order for the Lakers to make any run at a playoff berth this year. Thanks for rocking and rolling with us here on the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, we're going to give you some Lakers injury updates because the off-injured Lakers continue to be injured. Frank Vogel on Avery Bradley saying this. It's just, I'm not sure of the exact terminology behind it. Something happened, I think, at least last Golden State game that led to some swelling. Until the swelling goes down, he's going to be out, but it's not anything that's supposed to be long-term. He is still day-to-day. He was on the court working, sweating yesterday, and he's getting close. Now, Avery Bradley's been out the last couple of games, and when Avery Bradley is healthy, look, he gives you something defensively, and at times, although he's very, very streaky offensively, he can be really up and down, but can give you a little bit of something shooting the basketball. As for Kendrick Nunn, Kendrick, the Lakers need you. We just don't know about Kendrick. We're still hopeful that he comes around and is able to ramp up and do it without pain, and the MRI comes back where we want to see it. It hasn't happened yet. So until we see him back on the floor, we need help in that position with that skill set. And speaking of that skill set, the Lakers have missed it. Because what is Kendrick Nunn's best skill? Scoring the basketball. And he can really create off the dribble for himself, and he can let it fly from really anywhere on the floor. Now, he's never been the most efficient player over the long haul with a lot of volume, but man, he's a pretty good offensive player when he's given some of those opportunities. Unfortunately for the Lakers, they haven't been able to see it this year. So that is the latest on the Lakers injury report. Who is more important to this squad as we get closer and closer to the NBA playoffs? For the Lakers' sake, the NBA play-in tournament. Type AB for Avery Bradley, KN for Kendrick Nunn. Get those votes in, and thank you so much for making today's show part of your day.